वो सरसरी हवा थी, संभलना पड़ा मुझे, मैं आखिरी चिराग था, जलना पड़ा मुझे। सैकड़ों साल बाद कोई ऐसी शख्सियत इस संसार में आती है जो आने वाले पीढ़ियों के लिए अपने निशान छोड़ के जाती है। तो ऐसे ही शख्स डॉक्टर स्वामी, जिन्होंने खुद को जला के रोशनी फैलाई है, ऐसे डॉक्टर स्वामी को मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो आए और फिर से वो शम्मा रोशन करें आप लोगों के दिलों में, जिसकी रोशनी हमेशा फैलती है। डॉक्टर स्वामी, गिव अ राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज।
ICAI President and office bearers on the table, and young students about to become chartered accountants. First, I congratulate the quality of students judged by the paper book I just saw, in which there are articles on a variety of subjects, on the Companies Act, on accounting standards, on the GST, and so on. And I must say, as a former professor, I'm very impressed by the quality of those articles, so I congratulate you first that you are already a chartered accountant before graduating as a chartered accountant. The 21st century is sometimes referred to as the India century, but it's referred to as the India century because everybody knows that, according to modern economic theory, it's not more capital or more labor that produces output in increasing numbers, but it is the technological progress, the productivity in the use of these two inputs in the production. This is measured in economics as total factor productivity. There was a time when the only technology we had was a bullock cart. Slowly we went to locomotives, Bessemer steel plants, then to jet engines, and finally we conquered space by internet. And today internet has completely revolutionized the way we do business and the way we do commerce. So therefore I would like to say that keeping an account in such a complex situation is an extraordinarily difficult task and also involves a lot of moral questions which you have to grapple with. There's always pressure from those who employ you as chartered accountants to make their account books look rosy. But the consequences of that are terrible. Enron, for years after years, showed profit on this, and its balance books, which were submitted to the stock market in Wall Street, produced impressive reports which made the Enron stocks go up. One day it was discovered that Enron was not making profit, but profit was being shown by the fact that contingency liabilities included payments which were not made, and if they were not treated as contingency liabilities, then of course the profit would have been negative. Most of the Indian companies today suffer from the same problem. In fact, many years ago, the New York Stock Exchange board had invited me for a lecture on their lunch, executive lunch. And in the process, I spoke about the disclosure standards of this Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States. And I said that if these were applied to Indian companies, many of them would not get listed in the New York Stock Exchange. And indeed, today, some Indian companies are listed in the New York Stock Exchange, but the most important companies of our country in terms of its power and influence in the country cannot get listed in the New York Stock Exchange because their accounts are fraudulent. They show profit when there is none. They show expenditure where there is none. They show revenue where there is none. This is because of the fact that chartered accountants cooperate with such industrialists. Therefore, in the United States, for it not to happen again, they have now required that their CEOs of companies and CFOs of their companies give a sworn affidavit, and that if it's ever discovered that the accounts are fraudulent, then they are subject to criminal prosecution. We have not come to that stage yet, but I would like to say that even without such laws, our young people should become chartered accountants who have the nerve, the guts to tell your employer, no, I cannot do this, so that the country can prosper with cleanliness and clarity, which is required for 21st century. Now, one of the great gifts of India today, which is unintended, but it has now become a gift, is the young population we have. 70% of our population is below the age of 35. The average age of India, the average age of Indians is only 26 years. The average age of China is 35, of the United States 36, of Europe 46, of Japan 50. These industrialized countries are now aging. And it's really India which is going to have, for the next 50 years, a surplus of young population. We know that what transforms our economic growth to higher and higher growth rates is not more capital, more labor, but new ways of doing things which we call as innovation. Like Internet. Internet is an innovation. New ways of running businesses today come because of Internet. You can have transnational corporations sitting in one place in the world and controlling your companies in several countries. So this innovation, who produces that? It is the young population which comes out of universities with fresh minds and new knowledge that is able to provide new innovations. Today we are dependent on crude oil from many Arab countries, and their prices are at the whims and fancies of these Arab countries. And therefore our balance of payments gets affected by that. It's the young minds of India who can produce a substitute for this crude oil. Today, modern science and modern research has shown that we can run automobiles on what is called as hydrogen fuel cells, which doesn't require oil at all. And therefore, many countries are now started doing research on it. In Japan, next year, Toyota is going to produce a car which is going to run on hydrogen fuel cells. You charge it overnight and run the whole day 350 kilometers. If you have charging bunks instead of petrol bunks, you have charging bunks, then of course you can run it like any other car. This will revolutionize our economy. We have today in India 60% of the world's thorium. uranium will exhaust in another 25 years. So what is the nuclear fuel of the future? Thorium. And thorium is 60% available in India, in the world. Of the world supply, 60% is in India. If we can do what everyone is doing research on today, how to convert thorium into uranium-233 so that it can be used as a fuel in a nuclear reactor. And once that happens, the country which is able to do that will become a superpower. If the Indian youngsters were able to do that research, thanks to the past atomic energy scientists, we have now cracked 2 of the 3 stages that were necessary to be cracked. There's 1 stage left, and that our young people can do. It's not been so far done anywhere in the world, but it can be done. China is doing research on it, the United States is doing research on it, the CERN in Switzerland is doing research on it, and it's time that India also applied its mind to it. Like that, India has tremendous potential. Remember, we were the most developed country of the world till almost 1500 AD. It's only in the last 500 and odd years that India has declined. It's declined because of foreign invasions. Now we are free and we got a new young population. And for accounting all this, we need young people who can keep abreast of what are the inputs and the outputs in an economy. That's where the chartered accountants come. But then, how do you develop as a chartered accountant? That is different from the past. First of all, I would like our young people to become proud Indians. Then you will not commit any wrong. You will think that, yes, for my country, I am willing to make this sacrifice. You cannot become a committed nationalist of a country unless you know what your identity is. The British fed into our brains this concept that we are all divided people. Somebody came from Africa, somebody came from Europe, somebody came from China, that sort of thing. But it is now all been proved to be untrue. Modern theory of genetics, published in journals, now say that DNA studies show that we are all one Indian, right from South India to North India, from East India to West India. We are not Aryans and Dravidians. This is a concoction of the British. Arya is the only word we have in our scriptures. It means a gentle person, a cultured person. Dravid is a Sanskrit, a sandhi of 2 Sanskrit words to mean where what is now called as South India, below the Deccan. But the British gave it a concept that they were previously Dravidians ruling India, and then Europeans came as Aryans through the Khyber Pass and drove the Dravidians to the south of India and created a movement called Dravidian movement, of which DMK and ADMK are today part. And they clutched on to things which were not even true. The DMK leader, Karunanidhi, has been often in the past saying that Ravan is a Dravidian king. An Aryan king was Rama, and this Aryan came and killed our Dravidian king. It's only now that he is not talking about Ravan anymore, because I convinced him that Ravan was not Dravidian, but he was born in the outskirts of Delhi called Noida, in a village called Basrak. Even today you can visit that village, there will be a signboard saying that this is a village of Rama, the village of Ravana. And that he is actually a North Indian. Karunanidhi was told that the Brahmins are Aryans. So he used to say that Ravana was a Dravidian and Rama was a Brahmin. But Rama was a Kshatriya, he was not a Brahmin. And Ravan was a Brahmin. This only Karunanidhi came to know recently. So this kind of rubbish had been fed into our brain and we lost a sense of identification. So the identity of an Indian as being one, and that is across the caste also, is across religions also. Muslims and Hindus have the same DNA, which obviously means that our ancestors are the same. We have not come from outside. So this must be in your mind, whether you are a chartered accountant or economist or a physicist or whatever. But as an Indian, you must have this concept. The second thing, you must know the correct history of India. Most of us are taught that we are a country which was invaded by anybody at any time, and they looted and ruled this country. That is not correct. India has always resisted people who came from abroad. The British were resisted all through. Maybe we didn't win, but ultimately we defeated them. 1857 was the first war of independence. After that, there was continuous fighting. Then when Gandhi came, it became into a non-violent struggle. Subhash Bose gave it the violent form of struggle. But both were heroes for the country. So therefore, if you look at the Indian history in a correct perspective, we never capitulated. Even under Islamic rule, Islamic kings were here, but they could not convert all our people. Islam conquered Iran when the Zoroastrians were ruling it and converted in 15 years 100% of Iran to Muslim. Iraq was converted in 17 years to 100% Muslim. Egypt was converted in 21 years. Christians converted Europe in 50 years. But in India we had 800 years of rule of the Muslims and 200 years rule of the Christians, and you're still 80% Hindu. It obviously means that you kept fighting. It's not a question of it. So, unless you have pride in your past, unless you know the truth about your past, you cannot be a good Indian. And if you're not a good Indian, you will not have character. But the most important thing which I'll say in the end, all of you must imbibe, is the spirit of taking risk. Indians hate risk. They want to play safe. They want steady jobs. When I went to the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and after the lecture I had dinner with the students and asked them, there are all these competitive exams, going through it and coming here, what have you achieved in the end? Have you assessed that? They said, yeah, we will get an MBA from IIM, Ahmedabad. So I said, what does that give you? He said, give us a good job with a fat salary. In the Hindustan Times matrimonial column, we'll be in big demand. So I told them that you didn't come here, that means for learning marketing theory or inventory control, investing. You came here to get a good job. One safety. But nothing in life can be achieved, I can tell you, unless you are ready to take risk, and risk means failure, and the brave are those who fail and stand up again and try again and again till they succeed. That is the spirit we must have. Nobody is going to encourage you to stand up, because the Indian society is always ready to pull down somebody or the other. They say that the Indian crabs need not be packaged very, very well, whereas crabs from other countries, when you export them, you have to package them very well, otherwise they'll crawl out. But Indian crabs, if one crawls out, the other pulls it down. So you are safe. So that is the mentality that has come, which has to say, you must have the courage to stand up as a proud Indian and say, I want to solve this problem for the country. It may be a small problem in your particular area, but then your dedication is to improve the country. And that can be done. Everything else is in place. This country, the power of the individual under the Indian Constitution is very strong. People used to tell me, oh, what we can do, rich people can do anything they like. But using the Indian Constitution, I went to court and got the 2G spectrum licenses cancelled and ministers sent to jail and many more others to jail. Today you would have seen in the press that in the Aircel Maxis, Mr. Chidambaram has been summoned for questioning. Him also will have to serve a time in a place called Tihar at some stage or the other. I got summons issued to Ms. Sonia Gandhi in the National Herald case. Now all this without any power, but the power of the Constitution is there if you study what your powers are. That's what I want to do. I want particularly the young girls in this country not to be submissive, to be aggressive, stand up for your rights, not only learn chartered accountancy but learn some karate as well. Our history has always respected women who stood up. Two great wars which are described in Ramayana and Mahabharata was for the honor of women. These are not weak women, they are strong women. They were dishonored and therefore the country went to war for it. So that is the status we have. I once was looking at I said in our pantheon of gods, who we can call as the Prime Minister of the heavens. And I said, it must be Brahma. Brahma must be the Prime Minister. Then what is Shiva and Vishnu? I said, they are Deputy Prime Ministers. Then I said, all right, what about the ministers? What are the ministers in their portfolio? I found the three most important portfolios. Finances with Lakshmi, defense is with Durga, and education is with Saraswati. So I looked further, I said, did the men get anything? Information broadcasting. So this is the importance we give to women. So I urge the women of this country not to be depressed or discouraged by the present atmosphere, but to try and change it, and try and change it not by becoming more cautious, but by becoming more aggressive. Learn, education will empower you, stand on your own feet, become economically independent, but at the same time learn how to protect yourself. So become the new Indian of the 21st century. This is my message to you. Thank you very much.
अभूतपूर्व वक्तव्य। स्वामी जी, हम आपका धन्यवाद करते हैं। आपने हमारे हृदय एवं मानस को झंकृत कर दिया, ज्ञान की गंगा बहा दी। हाँ, मैं आपके लिए कुछ पंक्तियां रखना चाहूंगा। एक बहुत ही मशहूर कवि ने लिखी थी। चाहा नहीं सुरबाला के पर इठलाऊं, मुझे तोड़कर हे बनमाली, मुझे तोड़कर हे बनमाली, इस पथ पर तू देना फेंक, मातृभूमि पर शीश चढ़ाने आए वीर अनेक, आए वीर अनेक।
Swami ji, we are indeed honored to have you here. You spend your valuable time. I request our head of the family, Shri K. Raghu, President ICAI, along with Chairman NIRC, to present a souvenir from the ICAI Parivar.
how can we clear in CA exams and how can we perform well? Sir.
Good morning, friends. It's really a great privilege and honor to stand before all of you on the occasion of the National Convention for CA students being conducted in Delhi. Excellent weather, excellent participation, excellent arrangements, and I think I should compliment the chairman of the Northern India Regional Council, Mr. Bansal Saab, for doing an excellent job in organizing this event. And more than 2,000 students are participating here in this national convention, which is a very important event for us in this part of the country. And I would like to congratulate Radhesham Bansal and his entire team of distinguished council members sitting on the stage for the excellent work they've been doing for the cause of the profession, for the cause of the members, and for the cause of the students. Let's give them a big round of appreciation. Mr. Praful Chajit, the Vice Chairman of the Board of Studies. As you know, the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is engaged in providing long-distance education to the 850,000 students in the country. Our profession is the only profession that is having so many students, and I think all of you have done a right job in taking up this professional course, which is one of the most popular professional courses in the country today. My congratulations and compliments to each one of you for having chosen one of the best professions today in India. Mr. Vijay Kapoor, the Director, Board of Studies, all the other distinguished members of the Regional Council, my student friends. Friends, we have been conducting conventions across the country. Every year we conduct about 25 conventions across the country and had the opportunity of participating in many events. And one big takeaway for all of you as students is that yes, this provides an opportunity for you to update on developments taking place in the profession, meet students from different parts of your region, try to get to know them, try to understand what is happening in the institute, interact with the Chairman Board of Studies, Vice Chairman Board of Studies, and try to find out how best you can scale up and become a chartered accountant. I still remember when I had the opportunity of joining the CA course in 1987. I completed my first attempt, both my intermediate and final in 1990. I had the opportunity of participating in a national convention in Hyderabad. Then I come from Bangalore, so Hyderabad was the convention which was conducted in 1989. I presented a paper on computer applications for chartered accountants, how computers can be used in a chartered accountant's office. Since then, I have shown a great love and affection for the profession, for the institute, and in my last journey of 24 years, I have been associated after qualifying as a member of the institute with the activity of the institute, and I am very happy that yes, it's been a great opportunity for me to lead the profession from the front, because today, friends, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the second largest accounting body in the world. We have 235,000 chartered accountants, 835,000 students. We operate through 147 branches, 5 regional councils, 25 overseas chapters, and we are there everywhere around the world. And that is why we are highly respected. Friends, one of the reasons why our professional chartered accountancy course is popular is because of the plenty of job opportunities that are there within the country and outside the country. We conduct campus interviews in 20 locations. Today, the average pay package for a young CA is 8.4 lakhs. If you have done your articleship training properly, if you have done your past examinations in your first attempt, getting a good job is not very difficult. Today, our experience says that all sectors of the economy are employing chartered accountants. In the traditional sectors like manufacturing, insurance, banking, financial services, huge demand for CAs across the country. New generation sectors like IT, ITS, telecom, retail, infrastructure, again a huge appetite for CAs. I come from a city like Bangalore. Bangalore has more than 10,000 chartered accountants. We have companies like Infosys, companies like Wipro, companies like TCS employing young CAs for their software development, for developing applications, IT applications for